Hey, I'm Scott Hall, Psychic Medium, here with my weekly Facebook Live. And this week we're going to talk about, or I'm going to talk about, intuition or anxiety. This is a really common topic. It's when you, because most people have the biggest problem with intuition. I say most people, all people, when you are feeling kind of stressed out. And so you're not sure if it's a psychic hit saying, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. Hi, Janet. You're not sure if it's the anxiety telling you not to do something, or if it's really a psychic hit or intuition. That's the same thing, psychic hit, intuition. So first I'll talk about what a psychic hit is, or what intuition feels like, an intuitive hit feels like, or an intuitive idea. It just feels good. It doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't have any negative emotion to it whatsoever. So it just isn't, it's information coming in, and it really is not, it doesn't feel, it is biased in a way, because it's always, the information is always there to help the person. I'm going to speak about as if I'm getting an intuitive hit for myself, not giving a reading. So it's always there to help me, the information that comes in. So it doesn't have, it has that bias to it, like it's here for love and to help. But it doesn't have a negative connotation to it. It's just information, and it usually just kind of drops down, and it's there. And you have to receive that kind of information, you have to be open to it. I've spoken before about it. You have to be like, the radio tuned to receive. You have to be in receiving mode, which means relaxed, open to new ideas. Definitely have that tube that I talk about open and allowing information to come in. To once you constrict that, and then you wonder, is that an intuitive hit or not? The chances are it's not, or it's at least, even if it's the same answer, you're getting it from the anxiety, not from the intuitive hit. So I'll go more into that, but it's just like hard to talk about this without talking about both at the same time. So an intuitive hit feels, it can happen you could be in the imagination zone and then it hits you. You could be in the middle of doing some work, but so into it that you're kind of breathing and you're in the zone, and then something could hit and telling you, yes, I should do that, or no, I shouldn't do that. If you get a intuitive hit that feels negative, that's when you need to really look at it and see if it's anxiety or not. So anxiety causes a cutoff of your intuition. So that's why this is a weird topic, because it kind of plays on itself, kind of chases its own tail. So I'm going to go now into it, because I just can't avoid it anymore. I have to talk about anxiety. So intuitive hit always feels clean to me. Yeah, it feels very clean. Like I said, there's no emotion really attached to it other than good. It could be loving emotion, but never negative emotion. You could have an intuitive hit about someone or something that I guess could feel negative, but it's not like it's just going to drop in as negative. It's just like, I'm going to tap into this and see how it feels, and then you feel negative. And so you're kind of in control of it. It's not like someone just all of a sudden hits you with a bad storm that feels really bad. But that's what anxiety feels like. So let's just give an example. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Hi, Laura. Let's say you're considering a new job, and it's because that's one of the really high where anxiety can come up with a new job. You're like, oh, you have your interview, and you are thinking about let's see, you have the interview, so you're thinking about the job, they haven't offered it to you, but you're like, oh God, if they come back and say yes, or something doesn't feel quite right, I don't know, and you're starting to do this, you're tightening that tube, you're closing down the information, and then whatever you got is tainted by anxiety. So even if it is the correct thing, then to let's say the idea is, I something doesn't feel good about this job, something doesn't feel right about this job, and that's the hit you're getting. If you were not anxious about it whatsoever, and you were just like, does this feel good or does this feel bad? When I went over there, did it feel good? When I was at the interview, did it feel good or not? and you can just breathe into it and feel, and you get a feeling in your stomach. No, you see how that you're in control of that. You're really controlling that whole thing. You're putting yourself in the position. Then you're asking your body to tell you, how did it feel there? Because your body knows. Your body's extremely intuitive, and it knows what's going on. So it would give you a negative hit, a negative feeling, a bad feeling about it, and that's an intuitive hit because you've asked, I want to know, how did that feel when I was there, versus you're just thinking about it. And if a lot of thinking's going on, then you know it's not intuition, because it can't, and the two can't happen at the same time. This thinking it closes that tube. If you're stressful thinking, I'm talking about. So if you're thinking, well, the money's good, but it's not that good, but that guy seemed like kind of a jerk, and I'm not really sure, and then you're closing that tube, and then you're, I don't know. That, and then you're feeling negative, you're feeling that bad feeling in your stomach, and so you could say, well, that's an intuitive hit, that's bad. Or you could say you're triggered by anxiety. There's something happened in the past with a job, and this reminded you of it. So, or sometimes even a boss will remind you of a past relationship even. So maybe you're getting triggered from a past relationship. But if you're feeling like anxiety's happening, your thoughts are really spinning around, you feel like you're in your head a lot, and you're getting a bad feeling, then you could almost guarantee it's anxiety. And in order, so the anxiety might be correct, but it's being triggered by something. And when you're in that anxiety, you just don't know. So Janet, my partner Janet and I are both psychic mediums, and we have to ask each other sometimes when we're stressed out, because it's just almost impossible when you're really stressed out to get a clean intuitive hit. So we'll ask each other, but of course we know what's going on with the other person, and we're emotionally involved with it. So sometimes it's not even good for us to ask each other to give a reading, because we're too involved. So we go and trade with other people and get readings from other people to do that. So I ask you to, if you're really stressed out, get a reading. Then that's happens a lot, where we can kind of look at everything carefully, and I'm not emotionally involved, so we could figure it out for you. But it is doable. You just have to back out of the anxiety. And if you can't, then you just need someone else to help you with getting an intuitive hit. But your decision, like I've said before, if you've listened to my videos before, it's really, especially with a job, it's really important to make the decision with some tapping into your emotion. Your emotion tells you how you feel about something. And it's really important to do that anyway. So just to go, you need to know how you feel about something. Let's see if I can give another example. Okay, let's whether to go to, like a friend asked you to go to some party. And you're thinking, oh no, I don't know if I want to go. Oh, I don't know. God, I'm getting a bad feeling about it. And the bad feeling gets worse and worse and worse. And next thing you know, you're really anxious about it. You're just like, no, I don't want to go. So once again, you have to unpack that and say, okay, wait a second, what happened? Did something, let's think about it. Well, who's at the party? Is there someone at the party that can trigger me? Usually it's like, yes, or I've been in a party before where I'm caught there and I'm bored, and so that brought in, so you can think about it and think, oh yeah, anxiety started coming on when I started thinking about the party. So this is not really an intuitive hit, at least not a clean one. Anxiety is running the show right now. So I need to get out of that and think about the parties that I enjoyed, and then say, okay, I'm going to imagine myself there. How do I feel? This is what I usually do, is I imagine myself there. How do I feel? And I imagine if I didn't go, how would I feel? So I can compare the two. Am I okay with not going? Because something's bothering me about that. If I feel like something's bothering me about that, then I say, am I okay with not going? Can I be okay? And if the answer is yes, then that's what I go with, right? So an intuitive hit, if you had an intuitive hit, like I've had a positive one about going to a party before, like, oh yeah, something's going to be great going, I should definitely go to this social event because I'm just getting a good hit, a good vibe about it. That's great. It's just, once again, it's the negative hits, the hits that say no, that we're confused on, is whether that's anxiety or intuition, right? So if everything's all love, you're not going to feel any anxiety. So if it's a great thing and I'm feeling so great about this, but I don't know if that's our good hit or not. So I've heard people say that too. I've probably said it before also. I probably try to convince myself out of love before. And but if it feels loving and feels wonderful, then it's both an intuitive hit and maybe you're being love triggered, which is an awesome thing. If that's such a thing, I don't know. I do that too. It's so helpful. Oh yeah, what do you mean, Janet? I think you mean about the asking, like imagining whether if you went, how you feel, and then imagining if you didn't go and how you feel. Let me know if that's what you were talking about. But I'm onto this new thing, this getting love triggered. I'm gonna try to spread the word about getting love triggered. That sounds like a good idea. Cracking myself up. Didn't sleep a whole lot last night, but okay. So intuition or anxiety. So what intuition does not feel like? Yes, imagining how you feel. Janet said yes. So she's imagining how you would feel if you went, like, do that with a job too. Imagine how you feel at the job. Imagine how you feel if you didn't take the job, and just see if that works. But you have to get yourself out of anxiety first. I'm going to talk briefly about getting out of anxiety, so you have a possibility of getting a psychic hit. The first thing is that all the actions going on up here. It's all going on in your intellect. And it's just thinking it can tell you everything and saying, don't worry about the feelings, just feel this horrible feeling, this one horrible feeling, and know that I'm giving you all facts to back that feeling. So when that's going on, that's a lot of jumbling energy going up there, and not a lot that's holding you down to the ground. So you're not grounded when you're in that state. So the first thing you need to do is get grounded. To get grounded, exercise is really important, going for a walk, holding stones. If you can't go for if it's pouring rain or whatever, hold stones, take a bath, take a salt bath, light candles, do whatever you do, meditate. I usually meditate. I play guitar. If you're a musician, playing an instrument, those vibes, the actual notes vibrate your body, especially acoustic guitar against your body. It vibrates your body, gets your body back in alignment, gets you back grounded again. Singing is very grounding. Talking is grounded if you do the right grounding, the right talking. So basically get grounded again, and then go try to see if you can get a psychic hit, a intuitive. I go into nature. Yes, nature is really important. Go into, Janet says yes, walk in the woods that is grounding, especially if you took your shoes off. That's even more grounding. If you don't have woods, go outside, take your shoes off and put your feet in the grass, put your feet in the dirt. That really helps a lot. Sometimes when I run, I'll stop for a second in this one area and I'll take my shoes off and put my feet on the ground for a while and sit with my feet on the ground. And it's extremely grounding. That's what grounding is. So the earth will kind of like, I imagine dumping all my anxious energy into the earth. So you get grounded, and then you tap into it. Then do this feel thing. How does it feel to take that job? How does it feel not to take that job? And then you're getting more accurate information. And if you can't do that, once again, then seek. That's when you can seek help from an intuitive, from a psychic or intuitive. Let's see. If anyone has any questions, please let me know. Let's see how much time I got left here. I'm almost out of time. So if you would like to book a reading with me, and we can work on any problem you have. If you're having a problem and you need to tap into your intuition and you just can't figure out if it's anxiety or intuition, I can help you with that. If you want to increase your intuition, your psychic ability, I can help you with that as well. So on my Facebook page, you'll see there's 3 services. I have 2 different phone readings and an in-person reading here at the Center for Love and Light, this beautiful office that I'm in. And or you can go to my website, which is scotthallpsychic.com, and go to the services page, and you can look around on my site, and you can book there as well. Okay, so I don't see anything. So once again, I'm just going to review. An intuitive hit does not feel horrible, and you know when you're doing it. The only time it's going to feel bad is when you say, how would I feel if I was in this situation? Then it would feel bad. But it's not like this thundercloud that comes down on you. And you want to make sure that you're not anxious when you're going for an intuitive hit. those two things don't go together very well. One, actually, anxiousness cuts off, the anxiety and anxiousness cuts off that tube and does not allow for information to come in very easily. There's another thing we see a lot is this happens in home clearings. Jen and I do home clearings, and you can check out lifeandhomeharmony.com, lifeandhomeharmony.com, and that's our site for our home clearing business, where we do blessings and clearings. And what we see a lot with people is something that, something doesn't feel so good in their house, but the anxiety, it triggers some sort of anxiety of the past for them. And next thing you know, they're thinking it's really bad, like there's an entity or something in the house. That happens so often, where people misinterpret residual energy of other humans that have been in the house. They misinterpret that for a ghost or entity. And the reason why is because they got into anxiety, they got triggered, they got afraid. Once you have fear brought in, it just amps everything else up. And before you know it, they're like, there's an entity in here, come clear my house. We clear the house, and if there's no entity, it's happened many, many times. It's just residual energy that feels bad, that triggers you. And I've talked about it before. There's one house we did that had anxiety in the room. It triggered me so badly because I've experienced anxiety before. And this is high level anxiety. And I couldn't even be in the room. It was worse than the worst entity that we'd ever dealt with. It was just residual energy. And we knew where it was coming from. We knew the gentleman who had left it there and everything. So that's a real deal. So you can trigger yourself into thinking that there's something worse there, even with just energy in a home. So this goes on in all areas, not just checking in on a job or whether you should go somewhere, but just how a space feels. You can be triggered into thinking that's much worse than it really is because you're getting triggered. Okay, I hope that was helpful. Intuition versus anxiety. Intuition is just information coming in. It feels good usually, and when it doesn't feel good, you've asked to tell you whether it feels good or not, so you're in control of the situation. Anxiety always feels bad. A lot of busyness up here. So much busyness that it makes you say, is this an intuitive hit or anxiety? If you even ask that, usually it's anxiety. Okay? I hope that was helpful, and I'll see you next week.